Conor Benn. Conor. Ladies and gentlemen, Conor Benn fought as the co-main event on the Tyson Fury-Makhmudov undercard against Regis Prograis. And how do I put this? It was embarrassing as hell. Now, I kind of went through the whole Conor Benn situation in another video the other day, so we're not going to go too much into it, but I am going to give a quick bit of context for anyone who didn't see that video. Conor Benn, Nigel Benn's son, signs with Matchroom Boxing, becomes a pro boxer. Matchroom take him from a no one to a boxer who's making the sort of money that other boxers at his skill level would not be making. They make the first Chris Eubank Jr. fight. Conor fails a drug test. That fight is cancelled the week of. Conor can't fight in the UK because he doesn't have a license. Matchroom get him a few fights outside of the UK. Conor gets his license back. Conor has the first Chris Eubank Jr. fight. Chris was 10 years older than Conor Benn, was weight drained, and was under a rehydration clause. Chris Eubank Jr. still won that fight. A few months later, the rematch. Chris Eubank Jr. still hasn't recovered from the first fight due to the fact that he is older and his body will take longer to recover. Once again, fully weight drained and severely dehydrated. He looked awful in the ring because of this and because of some other health complications in the lead up to the fight. Conor Benn beats him. Again, a fighter 10 years older than him who was severely dehydrated and fighting in a weight class that he shouldn't be in anymore. He gets that win and acts like he's just become world champion, calling out Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, claiming that he can get back down to 147 from 160. Fast forward, Conor Benn signs with Zuffa Boxing, all hell breaks loose, Conor Benn, Eddie Hearn beef. Conor Benn reportedly gets a $15 million one-fight deal with Zuffa Boxing. Everyone's excited, and who is it? None other than Regis Prograis at a catch weight of 150, despite Conor saying he could get back down to 147, and Regis Prograis having never thought above 142. Now, we get to the fight. Now, in the run-up to this fight, there had been a lot of rumours going around and it had been reported by quite a lot of sources that Regis Prograis was quite badly injured during camp and would still be injured going into the fight. At the press conference on the week of the fight, Regis denied those claims. He said everything was good and the fight went ahead. And then after the fight, the truth comes out. Regis Prograis was injured. And I knew that this would be the case. There were too many sources all saying the same thing. So I was like, no way is Regis Prograis not injured. Regis Prograis had an injury to his right hand and he fights out of the southpaw stance, so that is the hand that he jabs with. He had an injury to his eye, so his vision probably wasn't perfect, and he had a rib injury. And somehow, despite all of this, this was a competitive fight. What the hell? Conor Benn actually struggled with this guy. And Regis Prograis also retired after the fight, because I have to say, Regis Prograis is 10 years older than Conor Benn as well, just like Chris Eubank was. And it was a hard fight for him. Regis Prograis knew that he was finished, and Conor Benn couldn't get him out of there. After everything that Conor Benn has been saying, this is embarrassing. And not even just for Conor Benn, for Zuffa as well. You have invested £15 million into this guy. I'm telling you now, all of the champions at 147, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Rolly Romero, and Lewis Crocker are all going to be licking their lips to get a piece of Conor Benn now. Because I guarantee you, they all will have been watching that fight and will have all come away going, yeah, easy fight for big money. Because that's exactly what it would be. Ryan Garcia would absolutely batter Conor Benn after what I saw Conor Benn do in that ring. Devin Haney, Conor wouldn't even hit Devin Haney. Devin Haney is too good defensively, too slick. Devin would win that fight on a jab while doing his dancing around the ring as he does. Rolly Romero, Conor has a much better chance against Rolly Romero, but I think I would still pick Rolly to beat Conor Benn. Lewis Crocker is probably his best shot, as I think now that Mario Barrios has gone, Lewis Crocker is probably the weakest champion in boxing. But even then, I still think I might pick Crocker over Conor Benn. And Conor Benn and Shakur Stevenson have also had their beef, as we all know. And with that one, what are we even talking about? Shakur would make Conor Benn look like an amateur. Because if Conor Benn can't get a fighter who's 10 years older than him with 3 separate injuries, who was right at the end of his career, so much so that he retired after the fight, who was fighting in a weight class that he'd never fought in before. What are we doing? He is not going to be world champion, and I genuinely think all of the welterweight world champions would absolutely batter him. And going back to the Shakur Stevenson thing, by the way, Shakur is like, yeah, let's make this fight, let's do it. And Conor Benn won't do it because Conor Benn doesn't want to have a rehydration clause. But it's alright for him to do that to Chris Eubank Jr., who genuinely looked like he was on death's door after the first fight and during the second fight. But no, Shakur can't put a rehydration clause on Conor Benn. No way at all. That wouldn't be fair, that wouldn't. Now, I will say, despite all this, I actually quite enjoyed watching the fight. It actually was quite a good scrap. But Conor Benn cannot come away from that saying that he's going to be a world champion, telling Ryan Garcia to keep his belt warm after that performance. That was absolutely shocking. And the fact that he hasn't been humbled from that and was still calling out Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney after that fight, it's ridiculous. Who the hell do you think you are, mate? You have beat no one of any worth in the weight class that you're in, and the biggest wins that you have had have been against fighters 10 years older than you at the end of their careers, or they're severely rehydrated and underweight. And you still couldn't get either of them out of there. In fact, Conor Benn hasn't really had any power since he failed his drugs test. That's a bit suspicious, isn't it? A bit convenient that as soon as he gets popped for steroids, the knockouts just seem to vanish. I wonder why that could be. I wonder. But no, it was an entertaining fight. I did enjoy watching the fight, and I wouldn't be so angry at Conor Benn if he wasn't just pretending to be something that he isn't. If he was honest about the level that he is and where he's at, it would be fine. But calling out these world champions when you look like how you have been, it's just disrespectful to these actual talented boxers. Because yeah, this was a good scrappy fight, but it shouldn't have been. Conor Benn should have gotten this guy out of there. There were multiple head clashes in this fight. So Conor had cuts on both eyes and his eyes were blacked up as well. But that's not just because of the head clashes. Conor was getting caught quite a lot in this fight, and he just never seemed to really adjust or change his strategy no matter what happened to him during this fight, which again is one of the big differences between a boxer of Conor Benn's level and a world level world champion boxer, which Conor Benn clearly is not. The only time in the fight that he remotely hurt Regis Prograis was a punch landed on or even maybe after the bell in the first round, where Regis's legs did buckle slightly, but that probably happened because Regis thought the round was over and wasn't expecting to get hit again once the bell had rang. After that, Regis never looked hurt during the fight. He definitely looked a bit on wobbly legs, but that's age and wear and tear. That's nothing to do with Conor Benn's ability or Conor Benn's power. And don't get me wrong, Conor Benn definitely did win this fight. I'm not going to take this win away from him. He did win the fight. And as a fighter, that is the most important thing. You go in and you do just get the job done. Not going to take that away from him. But because of the things that he has said, we do have to call it what it is. This performance was not good enough for what Conor Benn says that he is going to do. And this, let's not forget, wasn't even back at the weight class that he's meant to be fighting at, or the weight class that he thinks he's meant to be fighting at. And my thing that I've always thought with Conor Benn as well is I think Conor Benn is a lot of flash with no substance. There's a lot of moving, there's a lot of feints, he's very erratic, but it's all just for nothing really. Sometimes I wonder if he actually is doing that for a reason, or if it's just kind of to look impressive, because he does all this, but then he still gets tagged on the way in, and he telegraphs all his punches. You can see his right hand coming from a mile away, and with all that, he still can't hurt an over-the-hill injured guy at the end of his career, while Conor Benn is meant to be in his prime right now. So the fact that after the fight he was giving it all the big ones on social media, Ryan Garcia, keep my belt warm. Mate, Ryan Garcia, if you're getting hit as much as this by Regis Prograis at the end of his career with multiple injuries, Ryan Garcia will absolutely put your lights out. You're going to sleep and you ain't getting up, and that's the truth. And I think even if you go below world level in welterweight, if you're looking at the level kind of just below that, so say like your Jack Catteralls and stuff like that, I don't even think Conor Benn would beat Jack Catterall. Like, it's not happening. Conor Benn is a gimmick fighter, and I hope all the world can see it. I'm pretty sure everyone was starting to see it anyway. But if we can't see it after that, then I don't know what the hell to say. He's not winning a world title, and that's the way it is. If he does, I will be shocked. I will eat my hat if he does, but I'm telling you now, Conor Benn will not be a world champion with the current world champions that are in the division, and they don't look like they're going to be moving soon either. Those are my thoughts on Conor Benn. I'm going to quickly touch on the other two fights on the main card. Frazier Clark, Justice Hooney. It was a good fight, you know. Both guys looked good, even though Frazier lost, and I do kind of feel for Frazier after that loss because he's had a lot of losses recently, but he did look better than he has in his last few fights despite the loss. He looked quicker. I thought his gas tank looked a lot better. There was a sharpness that I don't think we've seen from him recently, and he did rock Justice a few times in the fight too. So Frazier looked good despite his defeat, but Justice just was outlanding him. The thing with Justice that I think we do all have to question is his power, because Justice did land a hell of a lot on Frazier. Nothing really seemed to bother Frazier, and yes, we can put that down to Frazier Clark's chin, but I think it's just the thing when you look at Justice Hooney's record, he's just not a big power puncher, and I think to go to the top in the heavyweight division, you have to be more powerful than Justice is. So great performance, great boxing performance. He outlanded Frazier 100%, right man won, but I don't think Justice is ever going to say be a world champion. I just can't see that happening. And then Richard Riakporhe and Jimmy TKV, the styles just didn't quite gel in this, did they? I did get my prediction right. I got my prediction right on Frazier Clark, Justice Hooney, and I got my prediction right on this as well. But I did think that this fight would be better to look at than it was. I mean, Jamie TKV at times was looking like he was going for an MMA takedown on Richard Riakporhe with all the excessive clinching. And it was a bit similar to Fury Makhmudov in a sense, I guess, because it was all just kind of throw two shots, then duck your head, come in and clinch and try and push Riakporhe against the ropes to drain him a bit, I guess. But then eventually he did get caught a few times, he went down, and then at the end of the fight, Riakporhe was starting to unload multiple shots on him. It was a bit of a premature stoppage in my opinion. I do think the ref should have let it go on for a bit longer because Jamie TKV was still kind of trying to shove Riakporhe off him and was still trying to throw shots, so I do think it was a bit too soon of a stoppage. But I also can't complain too much because realistically that fight was only going to go one way. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Conor Benn and the rest of the Tyson Fury Makhmudov undercard. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Am I being too harsh on Conor Benn? I don't think I am personally, but let me know what you guys think. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye guys.